Breaking news on the murder of a young woman here in New York City. Our Fox affiliate reporting police have arrested a 13-year-old suspect. WNYW, Fox 5 here in New York City reporting the boy confessed to the stabbing murder of 18-year-old Tessa Majors. She was a freshman at Barnard College. She was killed in a park near the school's campus on Wednesday night before 8 p.m. in the evening. David Lee Miller joins us here in the studio with the very latest. What a tragic story, David.
Indeed, Julie. The latest information is that this 13-year-old boy was found in a nearby apartment building. In the lobby, he was wearing clothing that matched the suspects. He was found to have a knife on him. He is now, at this hour, we are told, in police custody. And as you just mentioned, he has confessed to his role in the attack. Reportedly, 2 others are still being sought. Now, this is a crime that has shocked and angered New Yorkers. For many, it is a flashback to a more troubled time. 18-year-old Tessa Majors of Charlottesville, Virginia, was attending Barnard College, which is part of Columbia University, one of the country's most prestigious schools. She was stabbed to death just off campus while walking Wednesday evening in nearby Morningside Park, a park that was once considered to be the most dangerous in all of New York City. But in recent years, it had an improved reputation. A number of teens were questioned by police. They were released, but now the breaking news this morning is that authorities again have in custody one 13-year-old who has confessed. Authorities have pieced together the final moments of Major's life. Investigators believe she was approached by as many as 3 young men, and that's when an attempted robbery turned violent. She was stabbed multiple times, but despite massive injuries, somehow she managed to climb a flight of stairs in that park where she collapsed. A security guard from the school found her and called 911. She died a short time later at a local hospital. Authorities have sealed off the entire park in the search for evidence near the spot where Majors died. They found a uncharged cell phone and a knife. Investigators were also poring over video surveillance recordings. At a candlelight vigil last night, students as well as the community mourned her death.
Everybody really feels like scared and nobody really knows like what to do exactly. And I don't think that I don't think the administration knows what to do either.
I was beginning to settle in on campus, and to hear about it was just such a reality check.
The school's president described Tessa Majors as, quoting now, an extraordinary young woman. Her brother Maxwell posted online this morning, "Rest in peace, the best sister and friend someone could ask for." And again, Julie, the headline this hour, one 13-year-old now in custody who has confessed to participating in this attack.
Crazy. Have you been naughty or nice?
The Hake Report, the Hake Report. La la la. It's the Hake Report, the Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys.
It's the Hake Report, the Hake Report. La la la. It's the Hake Report, the Hake Report. La la la.
So, welcome to Friday the 13th, guys. I don't know what that means, but it is Friday, December 13th, 2019, and they have arrested a 13-year-old boy on Friday the 13th. Dun, dun, dun. Whatever that means again. For some reason, some people are superstitious and like to avoid the number 13. So it's so bad that some skyscrapers and big buildings don't even have a 13th floor. They just skip from 12 to 14. Isn't that true? Silly. But I mentioned I am James Hake. It is hour 4 of the Jesse Lee Peterson's stream. Thank you, Jesse. We're on Jesse's YouTube, his dlive.tv/Jesse Lee Peterson. Follow Jesse there. And of course, the people on Periscope. Thank you guys for joining. La la la. Said Marie Fries. And mixer.com/JLP Talk. Great backup channel. And thank you, CLC and Splickety Dragon and others. I think Ali Dat A sometimes was in there. And everybody else over there at Mixer. So, I mentioned during the Jesse Lee Peterson show at the top of the 3rd hour, the YouTube boom. YouTube is a far-left liberal platform. They believe in hate speech. They don't believe in free speech. And they're being pushed around because they're so weak, too. They may not be as extreme as some of the SJWs, although some SJWs undoubtedly work for them or with them. But they like to crack down on the truth and people's freedom to speak, especially Trump supporters. You know, they have some woman, Wozniak or something like that, some feminist woman in charge of YouTube or something. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of Facebook. They're a bunch of feminists and male feminists. But the cat's out of the bag. Lots of people are waking up, forgiving, and all kinds of stuff, realizing that they've been lied to by the liberals. And so that's a good thing. You can't unwake people up, although you have to keep on pushing. The Bible says, it says something to the effect of, work out your salvation with fear and trembling, because it's God that works in you to will and to act according to his good will, something like that. And yeah, that's like the most important thing, right? So that's the update I just at the top of the hour played for you, or Joel did. Thank you, Joel. The update on the murder case of Charlottesville, Virginia's Tessa Majors. She was in a band. She's dead. She was 18 years old, beaten and stabbed to death at a park around her. I think it was an all-women's college in New York City, according to Fox News, associated with Columbia University, which is a horrible brainwashing institution. Elitist or something like that. Far left. But regardless, it's evil what happened to her. Fox News reports that a young teenager reportedly confessed in the shocking stabbing murder of the student. He was found with clothes that matched the description and a knife on him, and he confessed, 13-year-old boy. And I wonder if he was black. Just wondering. I don't know. I'm kind of assuming, but who knows? Might have been Mexican. May even have been white. Who knows? Let's be serious. The 13-year-old boy has been arrested for the murder of the college student, and there were 2 other suspects uncaught so far as I know. And 13 people say, oh, it's just a kid. When you were 13, you weren't thinking that you're just a kid. Come on, let's be serious. You knew what you were doing. You were either a good kid or a bad kid, but you were not even just a kid, in all honesty. Yeah, you're small, and your mind's not fully developed or whatever. But if you were raised right, you were acting right. If you were raised poorly, or, I mean, maybe you were acting out a little bit. But if you were raised poorly, you're acting poorly. You know, it's made me think of Cleveland, Ohio. I think it's Cleveland. Ohio's Tamir Rice, 12 years old, who was killed by a cop. He had been running around this park, waving around his, it was like a pellet gun or a BB gun thing. I think I even own one of these things. Contrary to popular belief about Tamir Rice, that gun thing, that, you know, toy gun basically, or pellet gun we could call it, did not have an orange tip. I don't think it even came with an orange tip. I don't think. But he was waving around, pointing at people, joking around. Somebody called the police, said, oh, somebody's waving around a gun, and then they mentioned to the dispatcher towards the end, I think it may be a toy. Dispatcher doesn't pass that along to the cops who are arriving on the scene. And I don't know if the cops said on the loudspeaker, put your hands up, but they get out of the car, and within a couple of seconds, reportedly the teen, or according to the police, the teen kind of had his hand around his waistband. And then the rookie cop, I don't know if he choked or if he was following policy, but he pulled the gun and shot the dude and killed him. They thought he was like in his 20s. 5'7", 190 pounds, 195 pounds, according to the medical examiner per NPR. I didn't know that he was nearly 200 pounds. 5'7". It's a big teen. That's a big preteen. But and they claim that that's racism too. The stupid, you know, SJW blacks who pretend like they love Tamir Rice and his family. They say, oh, that's racism. They overestimated how old he is. Because these guys, I don't know what it is about, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that Tamir Rice had a father in the home. I think it was just the mother. I could be wrong, but for some reason, it just seems like young people, especially nowadays. I don't know if it's the hormones they put in the food, but these are like big kids, like Joel's generation and younger. They're like huge. And then I do know statistically, according to reports, right? It's according to science, that girls go through puberty earlier when they don't have the father in the home. Maybe biologically they know that they need a man, so they got to attract a man earlier. I don't know. But yeah, young so-called kids can get real rough real young. I remember when I was a kid, and I mean an actual kid, like a 5-year-old, 4-year-old, something like that. A kindergartner stabbed his teacher. I saw that on the news. I didn't see the stabbing, but I saw the report. But it's crazy. And I reported in Hake News, Hour 3 of Jesse Lee Peterson's show today, this is Friday, right, that ex-New York Police Department Commissioner Bernard Kerik, who's a veteran and controversial figure, I think, but generally a law and order guy, right? He's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show before, believe it or not. He said liberals share the blame on this stabbing to death of Tessa Majors for reversing Rudy Giuliani's 1994 anti-crime policies, which were successful. He gets the credit in bringing the crime down, or at least a lot of credit in diminishing the crime. But since then, the stupid New Yorkers elected other dumb mayors, and, you know, there are a bunch of liberals over there in New York. Even Giuliani's kind of liberal, but was decent in terms of prosecutions, I think, reportedly, and fighting crime. He and former police commissioner Bill Bratton implemented this broken windows policing, where they go after this, don't go along with any of the mess. And when you diminish the small stuff, you also diminish the big stuff in terms of crimes, stuff being crimes. That's how a good, say, army leader or boss deals with stuff. They don't put up with any mess. Then you don't have big problems. If you nip the small problems in the bud, you nip the big problems in the bud. And that, stupid liberals try to say broken windows policing did not work. And they're, oh, you should let people get away with small stuff. But no, that's not a good idea. Former Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who's a billionaire, running for president, boring person, but he was a mayor of and he's the founder of Bloomberg News, so-called news, investigating Trump, but not the Democrats or himself. But in November, he spoke at a Brooklyn so-called church. I say so-called because no doubt it was liberal, where he apologized for implementing anti-crime policy known as Stop-and-Frisk. That's where you stop, question, and frisk people, maybe at random or in high-crime areas, or you can racially profile. They denied that they racially profiled, but I think they should have. It's a good thing to racially profile, especially if one race is committing more crimes. And I'm going to get to more of that in California. Dawning Armor gave me a tip about the DOJ, Trump's DOJ. And I don't want to blame Trump for it, but it is happening under his watch. Lots of shenanigans are happening under his watch because these embedded people in the DOJ, so-called Civil Rights Division and HUD, liberal outfits that don't belong in the government, are pushing mess because they believe in racism rather than fighting crime. But Bloomberg apologized for stop and frisk, and he's like, over time I've come to understand something that I've long struggled to admit. Bloomberg told congregants at the Christian Cultural Center, sounds like a real church, right? In East New York neighborhood of Brooklyn, I've got something important wrong. I've got something really important wrong. And then the socialist mayor, Bill de Blasio, who's in there, bragged about reducing stop and frisk by 97% in a fundraising email, according to Politico. Bloomberg banned sugary drinks because he thought that they were unhealthy while he was mayor of New York. That was Bloomberg? Howie Manley. I thought that might have been Bill de Blasio, but I don't know. So I'm going to get to your calls. Actually, I think I want to get to your calls first before I get to this tip that Dawning Armor sent me. Or he didn't even send it to me. He just told me about it. Stupid DOJ. Department of So-Called Justice. You know, before I get to the calls, and then I will get to you guys. Hang tight. Joe from Phoenix went to law school. He calls into Jesse's show. He's kind of a hater and a snake, but he said something that stuck with me. And he's an intellectual. He tries to be honest, but being an intellectual, it's hard to be. He's a Republican, black Republican, but he made an important point that I think should stick in the minds of people. People should keep in mind. He went to law school, right? That may be part of what broke down his mind. But in law school, he was told, he told me, I think, that justice in law is not about actual real justice. Isn't that interesting? This law, they have, the Hall of Justice, or I don't know if that's a real name. Maybe I'm thinking of Superman's, I don't know. But the Department of Justice is not about real justice. Unless it's like a conservative who actually has a mind on actual justice. Because they abuse this word justice, social justice, racial justice, economic, reproductive, environmental justice. All these stupid things that just to make a false liberal imitation of justice. Satan's kingdom, how Satan came as the angel of light. And that's what evil is. Evil is not just so-called Hitler killing all the Jews, or Holodomor where the communists killed the Christians and whites, or whatever. Or, evil is not just mass murder and things like that. Evil is not just Muslim radicals flying into the Twin Towers. That's low standard for evil. Yes, of course that's evil. But evil is we need to be broken windows about evil. We need to be getting rid of the evil of like pornography and abortion and same-sex marriage and sex out of wedlock and lying and not being honest about ourselves and being mad when we have no right to be mad, like Jesse Lee Peterson says. We need to be broken windows morality, because otherwise it's only going to continue the slide. Like, divorce, no-fault divorce, leading eventually to same-sex marriage and all that crap. Anyways, I think I made my point. I forget. Let me get to some calls. Let me get quickly to Cliff out of Massachusetts. Cliff, how are you?
Hey, Merry Christmas to you, sir. First-time caller.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you as well.
Thank you, sir. Reason I called, I was trying to get into Jesse, but it was about Joy Behar there and her. I guess she was on about gun control again, like she does, because she's a ghoul. She's a monster that likes to basically politicize any shooting, try to turn it on gun owners, the NRA, white people, whatever she can.
Right.
And just wanted to get your take on that, and I'll give you my take on it as well.
I didn't hear her statement, but I do know that liberals in general do love exploiting tragedies or whatever you want to call them, mass shootings and things, to push
off the dead.
Gun control.
They feed off the dead.
Yeah, they love when crimes happen so that they can exploit those crimes, which are usually caused by their policies, their leniency on morality and stuff like that.
I quite agree.
To push more mess and take away the rights of the decent people. They're evil.
Yeah, I totally agree. I guess this is one of my philosophies, is that hell is kind of like an eternal flames thing where time does not pass. That's why flames can burn forever.
Yeah.
And I think that basically they offer the same thing. They offer, torment and taking away rights and, damning this person, condemning that person. And it's just, it never ends. Nothing ever changes in hell. These people are from hell.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Yeah, it's a mess. And they're...
Sure is. And just ignore them. Don't support them. And, just keep your light shining on. You guys have a great Christmas season.
Thank you. You too, Cliff. Good to hear from you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I reported on Hake News of, I forget which hour, it may have been the second or so, that this judge only temporarily blocked this stupid Los Angeles law that required that, basically banned city contractors, or it didn't even ban them. It forced city contractors to disclose any ties with the NRA. That's dumb. What does that have to do with you, Los Angeles? Los Angeles is so evil. And their pretense is that they're going to crack down on mass shootings and increase so-called gun safety. They don't want actual safety. They want so-called gun safety. Anyways, let me get to Earl, and then Joe is calling in. I talked about him, mentioned him. Earl from Michigan. How are you?
All right, Jake.
Hey.
How you doing?
Doing fine, thank you.
All right. You were speaking of Tamir Rice. You got a lot of it right. But the problem is the rookie cop should have been dismissed, should have never been on the force in the first place.
How do you figure?
Because he was released from a previous police force because he was considered psychologically incompatible. He had psychological problems. He failed the test. Yet that wasn't exposed to the Cincinnati
Cincinnati
police department. They didn't do diligence, and they said he had propensity to be quick on the trigger. Therefore, he had psychological problems.
I don't know if that's true, man.
You don't have to. I just told you, and
yeah, but I don't know if I would believe that if I were you, because they're just looking for anything that they can to undermine the cops. And it may be true, it may not be true.
Yeah, it may be true, it may not. So don't come with your commentary that you don't know anything about it, and that you presupposing this or that.
But you're the one. But you guys are always looking to scrutinize the police, and you never scrutinize the blacks.
Well, you always scrutinize the blacks.
Thank you.
Never scrutinize the
Somebody got to do it.
Well, then shut up. Then it's good. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Who's the gander?
Never mind.
Yeah, are you saying that the cops are like the men, the male geese?
We won't go into that.
Is a gander a male goose? Anyways, because there's no men in the homes amongst the blacks. Anyways, sorry.
Anyway, the other problem was the experienced cop. If he thought it was a threat, he shouldn't have pulled up within 2 or 3 feet of the suspect. If he thought he was armed, he should have parked at a safe distance and then issued commands.
You know what, Earl? You know what, Earl? You know where you can go with that? This Monday morning quarterbacking, this armchair police policy crap. You can just sit there and complain and be quiet because you're dumb.
No.
Because that's stupid. You don't know what the policy should be. Have you ever been a cop?
Did you see the video?
Earl, you ever been a cop?
Did you see the video?
Yes. You ever been a cop?
Did you see the boy sitting at a table?
He wasn't just sitting there.
Threatening to you? When they pulled it up,
I don't
he
care
was
about
sitting at
that.
the table.
You don't know what the
Huh?
policy should be.
Did you see the boy sitting at the table?
Yes, and it wasn't just a boy. It was a
Or was he
12-year-old
threatening anybody?
looking like a
Was
man.
he threatening anybody?
Beforehand, yeah, I
Foolish
saw him
person?
pointing the gun at people.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I did see
He
it.
wasn't pointing anything.
I did see him pointing
He
the
was
gun.
called by the police. He got up from the table,
Yep.
walked toward the car,
Did you see
and
his-
was shot within 2 seconds.
Did you see his hands
Within
go up?
2 feet.
Did you see his hands go up?
For what? How you know he was ordered to go up? Did
I
you
don't
hear
know.
him?
I'm just going by what
Did
the
you hear
police
him?
said.
Did you hear him give that order?
There was a silent video, dummy.
Oh, shut up. You just making up.
It was a silent video. It was a silent video.
So how would you know his hand's supposed to go up if he didn't give an order to go up?
Because the cops were pointing their guns at him. I think I would
No,
put
they
my hands up
didn't.
real fast.
Oh, shut up. You just making.
You're the one trying to
for things you know
accuse
nothing
the
about.
police of being guilty of something when they were found not
no, you
guilty.
just want to face facts. You want that little narrative that you want to excuse the cops. You don't.
You're the
don't
one
know-
wanting to excuse the blacks.
You didn't know. You didn't know the man was previously disqualified. Why didn't
Because
you know that?
I still don't know that.
Why didn't you know
I
that?
still don't know that.
Then you can't talk about what you don't know.
And neither can you because you're just scrutinizing the cops.
Yeah,
You don't want to
yeah,
scrutinize
shut
the
up.
blacks.
Shut up.
All right,
By the
Earl.
way, baby Hitler.
Whatever, baby Farrakhan. You don't love the blacks.
There you go with the stupid Jesse's #1 go-to plan. Just say you don't know this and know that.
You
We
don't.
don't have an argument.
You
By the way-
because
by the
you're
way,
not bringing
did
any
you salute
argument.
your-
You're trying to
Did you
Monday
salute
morning
your-
quarterback the
your
cops
Fuhrer
when you don't know what the cops
Jesse
should do or
today?
not. What a
Did
phony.
you salute your Fuhrer Jesse today?
Hey, Earl, would you advise
Hey,
your
baby Hitler.
Earl? You have any
Hitler.
kids?
Don't worry about what I got.
Would you advise your son to go wave around a toy gun that looks realistic at a park in a dangerous place like Cincinnati? Would you advise that for your son?
It didn't matter. It was a toy gun.
Thank you.
He had a
Thank
toy.
you.
Uh,
It was not a toy. Those things are not toys. As a pellet gun. Anyways.
what? Did you know that for sure?
Yeah, I saw the gun. It looks just like the one that I have.
You
It's a
saw
BB
it.
gun thing.
Did you examine it? Anybody
I don't have to
reported that's
examine
what it was?
anything. You're being a nitpicking. You're a nitpicker. Anyways, I gotta
No,
go.
You're a peacemaker.
Huh?
You
A
talk about
peacemaker?
things you don't know.
I'm flattered that you think I'm a peacemaker.
Conclusion.
You're excusing the blacks
You
for being
form a
out of control.
conclusion
I gotta go, Earl. I gotta go. Take care.
Because you're stupid.
Yeah. And you won't admit that you are too. All right. Bye, Earl.
All right, baby Hitler. Hi,
Mini Farrakhan.
amigo.
What do you call me? Say it again. Say that one more time.
I said, shut the hell up. Goodbye.
All right, bye. Whatever, Earl. Joe from Phoenix, Arizona. There was another caller that I wanted to get to, but Joe, what's up?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, the quote I told you on the first day of law school, they said that the law has nothing to do with justice quite often.
Yeah. Isn't that a shame?
It's absolutely true.
Isn't that so evil?
Well, it's just the facts.
I think that's how these liberal judges, when you told that to me, you've told it to me a couple of times. It stuck with me because I think that's how these liberal, stupid judges justify flying in the face of justice with their crazy rulings against Trump with, like, for example, this DACA thing. When he tried to revoke DACA, didn't he try to revoke it? And then a judge said, no, you can't do that. You don't have a reason to, even though Obama himself said it was an unconstitutional executive order.
Well,
So there's all kinds of crazy rulings.
Right
These judges just fly in the face of justice, just like the Supreme Court with making up marriage to mean, same-sex marriage is real marriage too, as if they have any say on what marriage is.
well, judges are politicians, so.
Yeah.
You know.
What a shame.
But James, higher education does not break your mind. Like you said, my mind was broken in law school. No, it's not. It helps you think critically.
I don't know. There's some stuff that you can learn, and some, like, it can open your mind in some ways, but it definitely closes people's minds and puffs them up and makes them proud and arrogant in other ways. It's pretty rampant nowadays. You look around at the so-called educated people, most of them are Democrats. Why would you be a Democrat if you were actually educated?
Well, James, both Democrats and Republicans can be good and bad people.
I don't know about that one. I think most people are evil.
Most people, I think most people are idiots, yes.
But evil is worse.
I don't know. Stupidity is rampant.
No, man.
Look at the chat for heaven's sake.
Evil is rampant. Stupidity is just hey, I guess it starts with evil. But anyways,
yeah.
I appreciate you clarifying that quote.
And one last thing, Earl, if you're listening, please, for God's sake, stop calling in to Jesse or James unless you have a concise point and facts to back it up. You drive me crazy. You play right into their hands when you don't have anything to back up your statements, Earl. Stop calling in, for God's sake.
Yeah, man. He tried to make this point about this other, the rookie cop having failed some other test in some other city, but I don't know.
Well, it's just, Earl, can't you figure out that if you don't have a concise point and facts to back it up, that Jesse and James will run rings around you? Stop calling in, you idiot. Good Lord. This calls drive me nuts.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Joe. Don't take it personally. It's just Earl.
Well,
he means well. Why does it bother you how he acts? Do you agree more with his side or something?
No, because he plays right into Jesse's hands, and
What do you mean by that? Playing into his hands?
Because Jesse makes him look like a dumb black person, and plays right into his hands.
But doesn't he make himself look like a dumb black person? It's not Jesse making him look that way. Jesse's not trying to make people look dumb or smart. Jesse's just trying to get at the truth as he sees it.
As he sees it is the key phrase there.
I threw that in just for you.
Thank you.
Anyways, man, I appreciate it, Joe.
All right, man. Have a good day. Bye.
You as well. So let me tell you guys, I had some other calls, but I guess I got impatient or something. But this was a tip that I got on the Hake Report yesterday, Thursday, December 12th, by Donning Armor. I think he has a real name that he previously went by, but now he calls himself Donning Armor, which is his YouTube username. So Donning Armor, I think he used to be a liberal, and he still, I guess, technically is a liberal, but he's a white ethno-nationalist now, and he's not falling for the Democrats anymore, I don't think. Except maybe, was he the one that kind of liked that Tulsi Gabbard woman? But anyways, this press release, and I have some screenshots of it, from the DOJ, the Department of Justice, horrible institution, generally, came out December 2nd. The federal so-called Justice Department sues the city of Hesperia, California. That's out east of here, way out the 10, I think. Freeway, I-10 freeway, for those of you who are not in California. We call it the 10. People call it I-10. But, and they also sue San Bernardino County's Sheriff's Department for discriminating, quote unquote, against African American, meaning black, and Latino renters through the enactment and enforcement of a rental ordinance. The Crime-Free Rental Housing Ordinance, which was in effect from January 1st, 2016, and its amendment on July 18th, 2017, required all rental property owners to evict tenants upon notice by the Sheriff's Department that the tenants had engaged in any alleged criminal activity on or near the property. The complaint further alleges that the Sheriff's Department exercised its substantial discretion in enforcement to target African American, meaning blacks, and Latinos renters, meaning Hispanic renters, and minority areas of Hesperia. Majority minority meaning majority non-white. So although the ordinance was purported to target criminal activity, the sheriff's department notified landlords to begin evictions of entire families, including children. Duh. What, are you going to just leave the children there? For conduct involving one tenant or even non-tenants. Because say they bring friends around, bad friends. Evictions of victims of domestic violence, so-called, right? You know that generally it takes two to tango when so-called domestic violence happens. And evictions based on mere allegations and without evidence of criminal activity. So I say we need to abolish the so-called Civil Rights Division of the DOJ. And I know that I saw HUD mentioned. Yeah. Individuals and families have the right to live where they choose. This is a quote from some stupid liberal woman. Where they choose, regardless of their race or national origin, said Ana Marie Farias, Assistant Secretary of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity of the U.S. Department, I was shaking my head just now, of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. HUD applauds today's actions and will continue to work with the Justice Department to address policies and practices that violate this nation's fair housing laws. So fair housing laws just means that you can't discriminate against blacks and Hispanics who are suspected of criminal activity. What a mess. And as what's his name, Donning Armour mentioned, this is President Trump's DOJ, Department of So-Called Justice. It is but it's the so-called Civil Rights Division. The Hesperia City Council member called it a demographical problem, which is the increase of black and Hispanic population. And so they've been evicted. They get evicted for being suspected of crimes. Wouldn't you want your neighbors evicted if they're suspected of crimes? Especially on or around the property where you're renting or living? I think I would. So this is not looking out for the neighborhood. It's kissing up to it's a mess. It's kissing up to the blacks and the Hispanics, ingratiating them. And for what? It's just like what you see with this New York City stuff, where these dumb mayors and city council members and police commissioners, liberals in Chicago, Baltimore, I've talked about Baltimore, New York City and elsewhere, are just soft on crime because it's racist. Dumb. It's so bad. Yeah. Hesperia is not it's just kind of getting worse, you know. All these boony towns. I used to think of Apple Valley as being like a nice area, but there's all kinds of gang activity out there. Apple Valley being a little ways north, but it's all ghetto now because it's so cheap out there. And then the gangs go out there and live, get away from the urban life, and then create the whole mess over there too. It's a mess. Anyways, let me get to Ramon out of San Jose, California. First time caller. Ramon, what's up?
What's up, James?
Hey.
Hey, man. I'm just calling to say I 100% agree with you with that the felons should be able to have their Second Amendment still.
You think that they should?
They've done their time.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, man. So don't let Jesse convince you otherwise with that beta.
Yeah, Jesse says that if these guys know in advance that they're going to lose their rights before they commit their crimes, let's see if I can represent his side well, then they're less likely to commit the crimes because they'll be deprived of their rights for being felons. And felonies include, major crimes like robbery. Of course, murder, like murders shouldn't pretty much ever get out, right? but but a lot of them do. So
definitely.
crazy. Yeah, my reasoning was like they say they pay their price and they lost their freedom, and then they finally get it back after paying their price fully. I don't like these early release stuff necessarily. It just seems like because they get they're targeted now, because they have enemies who are still criminals and not caught. Anyways, I don't know.
Yeah, I found it. The reason I support it is because I myself have a felony, and I got it when I was young, 18. So, you kind of don't know that you're going to lose your rights anyways after that. So it's not really going to stop you.
Yeah.
But I made a dumb choice, and I used to be in gangs and stuff. So you're right about that. Like, I came out, I did my time. I got 2 years for what I did, and I changed my life. I changed my life in there, and I'm a changed person. And so, I know for a fact for myself that I'm not a danger to society anymore.
Yeah.
And it sucks that I'm not be able to protect myself or my family or my household because of that law or whatever, however it happened. I don't even know how it happened because for my recollection of the Constitution or the rights is that it doesn't say, oh, you have the right to bear arms if you don't have a felony or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just sucks that you do. I did my crime. I paid my time, and I'm still paying for it. I don't know, because I'm in California, and I kind of try to look into it to see if I could get it back, and it says like 7 years, and you got to get a governor's pardon and all that stuff, and it's like so many hoops to jump through. Yeah, it's like, what the heck?
I wonder, are there any activists? There's all these dumb activists wanting to get the right to vote back for the felons.
Yeah.
Are there any activists for the?
Vote still. You can still vote. I looked into it in California. There's some states you can't, but in California, yeah, that's what that's what I'm saying. I looked back into it to see how to get my rights back.
Yeah.
Because I want to vote for Donald Trump.
Right.
2020.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could get your voting rights back in California, and then but not your gun rights. I think it's some 7 years. But yeah, there's no activists for that. There's more activists for getting job stuff. You know what I mean? Trying to get the felony off of the.
Yeah, they want to ban the box.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, ban the box. But those tend to be liberals, so I don't like those guys. I don't trust them. I don't trust their activism to be in good faith.
Testament to that. I myself, like I said, I have a felony. And I got convicted in 2014. So it's been like 5 years, and I'm doing very well now. Like I got a good job, getting paid $60 an hour, even with that felony box and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Even though they know that you're a felon.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's a lie. It's a lie perpetrated by these liberals saying, "Oh, these felons can't get jobs. They can't do this and that." You know what I mean? I grew up. I don't have a high school diploma. I have a GED. So I'm an electrician, by the way. So,
nice.
You know what I mean? I got into that. So that's probably the best for a felon to get into construction.
A trade. Yep. Or start your own business.
But yeah, hopefully one. Who knows? But I'm in a union, so who knows about that.
How'd you hear about the show, Ramon?
Well, I listened to Jesse first, and and I like what you say, and I started listening to you after.
Right on, man.
But it was actually like a random YouTube video I seen about Jesse, and I liked his opinion on what I saw.
Yeah.
And then I started watching The Fallen State, and he's very funny. So
nice.
And then I started watching his daily radio, and then I started watching you guys.
Cool.
So for sure, man, I 100% support the felons getting the Second Amendment back.
Had you ever heard that before? Had you ever heard anybody say that?
No, actually, it was funny that I've been actually thinking about it these past couple months. I was thinking about, like, why don't we get our, because it's, like I said, in the Constitution, it doesn't say, oh, the felons can't have the right to bear arms. So, like, I don't even know how they got taken away. When did they add to that law or anything like that,
Yeah.
And it's kind of bad because I like I said, I changed of course I see the I see the other side of the argument, like, oh, it's dangerous for a felon to have it. But you know, mine wasn't a gun-related charge or anything like that. You know, even some felonies can include like fraud or something. You know, and that's just has no correlation with being a danger or anything like that. You know, and now I'm unprotected and I got out of the gang life, so you know what I mean. That I'm very unprotected now, and it's sad.
Well, man, just accept reality. Like one thing that Jesse said is, as far as these felons that have more challenges, that they face more challenges, even like conservatives. Some of them, Jesse recommends like accept reality, accept that you get what you deserve in life, regardless of whether you knew what was coming or not. Because generally we don't know the consequences or don't consider them before we do wrong things. But just accept it, and maybe once you get married, have kids, at least your kids can have guns.
Yeah, right.
If you raise them right.
Have my wife have it under her name or something.
Right. don't be caught with it. I appreciate it, Ramon. Take care, man.
All right, James. Yeah, you too.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye. Let me get to Thomas out of Texas. Thomas, how are you?
Hey, what's up, James? Baby Hitler.
Hey, nice to hear from you.
I'm just kidding about that Hitler. That guy's funny, man.
He is. But he gets on Joe's nerves.
Yeah, I know. I heard that too. Nah, he's just brainwashed, you know.
Yeah.
He can't really think for himself, obviously.
Right.
You know, I've tried to see both sides of the aisle, and I always result back to what happened to like responsibility and you know, just thinking for yourself. And why do you have to always, you know, go with a tribe or you know?
Yeah, of course. I mean, for example, this cop thing and Tamir Rice and you know stuff where questionable incidents with police. They're scrutinizing the cops, but they're not accepting that. Hey, as society gets more corrupt, all parties are going to become more corrupt, but you're not looking at the most corrupt group, which is the blacks. Anyways.
Yeah, they're having a hard time with accepting the responsibility, you know, just kind of looking inwards and saying, you know, I could complain, but it's kind of hard to do that, I guess. It's hard for them.
Yeah.
But I was going to ask you about, I heard you make a comment about Tulsi. You don't like Tulsi Gabbard?
I like her, but I don't really respect her as much as other people do. And the main reason is that she's a Democrat. She was raised conservative. She wasn't pro-gay or anything back as a conservative, or at least, you know, in her family life. But soon enough, like, she rejects that. So she's just another brainwashed millennial. And yeah, she may be right about our foreign policy, and I think she probably is. And I respect that.
She sides more with Donald, with Trump on the, you know, on foreign policy. She's the only candidate. If you were to ask me, she was the only candidate that actually could have, you know, given Trump some competition, because all these other candidates they're just going to get destroyed by him. I don't even see why we're going to have. I don't even feel like I need to vote for Trump, because I feel like he's just going to win so easily. But it's kind of a shame, you know, that they're so into this free stuff and open borders, and the one strong candidate that they have, who also is a woman.
Yeah.
And they're so obsessed with that too. And she actually could have given him some competition, and they just look right past her and call her a Russian agent or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's a vet also, and she could have gotten a lot of votes from, you know, these people who are upset with Trump. A lot of the people are upset with Trump right now because of the, you know, his foreign policy, I guess. He's kind of he's got one foot in, one foot out, kind of.
Right.
So
yeah, it's tough right now extracting ourselves out of these sticky situations, and then it sounds like this DOJ thing. I would have to doubt that Trump is really for this prosecution or suing or whatever of Hesperia over so-called racial discrimination. I wouldn't think that Trump is for that. But this same thing, I have no doubt that these Defense Department people, who they're supposed to be carrying out the president's policy, are not following through with what the president wants to do. He's been declaring that he wanted out of Syria, for example, or out of out of Afghanistan. And what do? They sit on their hands and pretend that he didn't say it, or pretend that they can just ignore him. And then he tweets, "We're getting out," and that's their fault. That's evil. Anyways. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I like to support him, and to me, I kind of have more common sense about it. These people want him to go just be a martyr almost. It's like, it's not that easy. We've got ourselves tied up in the Middle East, and it's kind of difficult to just, do everything all at once.
Especially because our government's corrupt. It's like everybody except for Trump they're fighting against him, and then he's, listening to the wrong people at times, but he does generally try to think for himself, which I really respect. He's probably one of the most independent-minded people that I've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely. So. He definitely seems to be running the show.
Yeah.
Although in a couple of cases you kind of question it, kind of like with the I feel like Ivanka is in his ear and,
right.
and Kushner. I feel like they're in his ear sometimes, but almost, because I called you yesterday about that bill that was signed by him, or the anti-Semitism bill.
Right, the executive order. Yep.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, you know what? Like, after this, they really can't ask for anything else. Like
I hope you're right.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. But Trump, I feel like he's like, all right, I'll give you this bill. Y'all shut up now.
Right. Yeah, I hope you're right, man.
I really hope that's. Yeah, me too. I really hope that's the goal with that. But I was going to ask you another question about. So I typed in Jesse Lee Peterson on YouTube because I just recently found you guys. I've moved into an apartment.
Yeah.
And I've been living here without TV. Well, it's actually a townhome, but I've been living here without TV for about like 8 or 9 months.
Heaven.
So I've been, listening to YouTube and stuff like that. And so when I first found Jesse Lee Peterson, I found this old BET interview, but actually it wasn't the interview. It was just, Michael Dyson?
Yeah.
You're probably familiar with
Michael Eric Dyson.
I was looking, yeah.
Far left, liberal, fast talking black. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But it's like I couldn't find the actual interview anywhere.
Right.
And when you go on BET and you look for the interview, they have all the episodes of that series. I can't remember what it's called.
Don't Sleep or something?
They have all the episodes that you could watch except the one with Jesse Lee.
Interesting. Yeah, they're trying to stifle real voices. I have seen Michael Eric Dyson's thing, and I saw Jesse's backstage statements about Obama, I think it was. This was back from 2008 or so, give or take. And, I don't know what they did with it, but they're definitely... BET is not a friend to anybody except for evil. They're not good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though the BET guy likes Trump, I think, the guy who founded him.
Really?
Anyways. Yeah, he's like a businessman type of black guy, but still doesn't really
I can tell with the Dice. I mean, he tries to sound so smart, but
right.
I feel kind of a sense of guilt coming from. He looks like he's half white or something.
Yeah. It seems like those mixed ones have it the worst. They're just really radical. Thomas, I gotta go. I appreciate talking with you, man.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Let me get to Louis. Oh, Louis's gone. Oh, Louis left a note. Louis from Idaho said, just tell James he is smart and cool, and thanks for the show. Louis, I appreciate it. Sorry I couldn't get to you in time, but appreciate you calling in the past, too. Donning Armor out of California. Donning Armor, what's up?
How are you doing, James Hake?
Doing fine. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, well, I appreciate you at least mentioning what I brought up the other day. I hate to be one of these guys that calls in every day. Maybe I have a problem.
You're fine, man.
I'm addicted to Hake. Anyway, No, I called in about this. The DOJ is picked by Donald Trump. I mean, how can you say you don't think that he really knows about it? I mean, is he so stupid that he doesn't know what his own Department of Justice is doing? That they're suing the Count San Bernardino and Hesperia? And you criticized on your show, sir, just today, Bloomberg for apologizing for the Stop-and-Frisk.
Right.
Which also was extremely beneficial at stopping crime.
Yep.
Amazingly, when we stop and frisk a particular group of people, crime goes down. Amazing.
Yeah.
But, so if it's bad for Bloomberg, certainly it's bad for Trump, and you have to say it's his DOJ, man. It's his show. He has to know about it.
I don't know if he knows about it or not. There's a lot of stuff going on in the DOJ and all these stupid bureaus that probably shouldn't even exist. And it may well be that he has not heard about it just because we have. You know, he's dealing with a lot, as I imagine you know.
Oh. So okay, well, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt, and
he doesn't pick all the people in the DOJ. He can't just up and fire all of them and then hire new ones. He can hire a few of the leaders, true, but there's a lot of
He has
and you remember when
done that multiple times?
You remember when his cabinet was not being approved by Congress or Senate or something like that? His appointments are not, his cabinet appointments are subject to politics, the far left politics that runs.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, so
I agree. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt as well, and I'll move on to, if you don't mind. I mean, because I think we've kind of settled the issue. I think that he knows about it and he could stop it if he wanted to, but maybe he doesn't.
I bet you he couldn't even stop it if he wanted to.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. The other thing is, Thomas, I believe the caller before me, he mentioned that he thought Donald Trump is definitely going to win versus any of the Democratic candidates, with the exception of possibly Tulsi Gabbard, right?
He'd beat her even, but he should be voting for him. Yeah. Anyways, what's your point? Hello? Donning Armor! You dropped off. Ana Marie Farias is a so-called Republican. She's the one that I mentioned. They have the right to live wherever they choose. Donning Armor, speak up when you come back on. I don't know what happened to them. But Ana Marie Farias, American lawyer and government official, currently serves as Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, which shouldn't exist. Fair housing is a false Trojan horse, right? Equal opportunity is another Trojan horse for anti-discrimination laws. Discrimination is a human right, and it's the right of sheriffs, it's the right of cops, it's the right of everybody, the landlords, all of them. She served as vice chair of the Republican Party of Bexar County in Texas, 2015 through 2017. She was also board of the regents at Texas Women's University. So this is a rhino. 80 to 85, an attorney with the United States Merit Systems Protection Board. Donning Armor, man, you dropped off. Let me get to Vanessa out of Las Vegas, Nevada, first-time caller. Vanessa, I didn't realize we were at the end already. What's up, Vanessa?
Oh, hey.
Hey, last minute. Go fast. Sorry to rush you.
Okay, so I wanted to address the book that was presented yesterday about the N-word.
Oh, yeah.
How destructive it is.
Bury that sucker.
It is not. It is not. I think what's more destructive is the idea he's trying to implant with his book. It's making people feel like victims.
Yep.
It's putting the blame on the wrong thing. To say that the
Joelle,
N-word has all this
Bury
power and it hurts people, it's treating black
Check your
people
email.
like
I have the
children.
thumbnail for it. Yeah, say that last part again, Vanessa.
When you say that the N-word has so much power, I'm just going to say it because it doesn't have any power.
Right.
When you say nigger and you say that, like, it's such a destructive word. You're treating people like children.
Yeah, it's so true.
What's really destructive to the black people is, the fact that they're brought up in all this fear.
Right.
They're being told that, people hate you. You're never going to succeed. And, there's this general idea that, because of who you are, the color of your skin, you're not going to want to father your own children. You're going to want to go out and party and drink and, just use people.
Exactly,
and they
Vanessa.
buy into it because they can't picture themselves doing anything better.
I appreciate it, Vanessa. Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
All right. She was talking about Bury That Sucker, which is a book whose author Jesse Lee Peterson interviewed in a 2007, May 14th, I think it was, interview on the Jesse Lee Peterson radio show. I just wanted to mention that because we premiered it last night. It was an interview about some guy that wants to end, a black intellectual who wants to end the N-word. He wants the N-word gone from the vernacular of even the blacks. But he's so hung up on it, it's so ridiculous. He thinks that it's destructive or something like that. It's dumb. And she's right. It's the same thing that affects all of us, which is evil. All right, guys. We'll see you on Sunday, Church with Jesse Lee Peterson, and I host the Hake Report on my channels in the couple of hours before, 9 a.m. Church is at 11 Pacific time, which is Los Angeles time. And so we'll see you then. And what else? Check out the Building Fund. And thank you guys to Asmodor and Marcus V and all you guys supporting. We will read your super chats probably Monday, I would say. And thank you guys for donating to the Building Fund, the Bond Building Fund. We're going to get an amazing building. So we'll see you guys. Take care.